watching KSL Sports Live.
Thanks for spending part of your Saturday with us. Tony Finau on the PGA Tour. And the latest on the Utah Jazz as the trade deadline approaches.
Yeah, we also have a conversation with Utah women's basketball coach Lynn Roberts, who led the program to #9 national ranking, and plenty of local college hoops on the way as well.
We're going to start with the NBA. The Utah Jazz welcome one of the best basketball players in the world to Salt Lake City tonight. Sort of.
Yeah, Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks make the first of 2 trips to Utah in a span of 9 days. It tips off at 7 p.m. tonight. The only problem, Luka's not playing, right? He's out with a mild ankle sprain. It happened in Thursday's win in Phoenix.
Hopefully he can play the next time they come. All right, NBA action already in the can. The best of the West, the Denver Nuggets hosting the Philadelphia 76ers. Jokic versus Embiid. Embiid out to prove a point after the All-Star fan votes did not make him a starter. That's insane. Embiid on the drive past Jokic for that reverse slam to bring the Sixers back. Embiid with the step back on the 2-time MVP to tie the game at 110. And then a few possessions later, Joel lands the dagger. Embiid finished with 47 points. He leads the Sixers to a 126-119 victory.
A New York showdown today. The Knicks taking on the Nets. 2 minutes left. Jalen Brunson driving in. Cuts the lead down to 111-107. Kyrie Irving taking over in the fourth, though. Drains the 3 to give the Nets a 7-point lead. The Nets would go on to close the door and get the win, 122-115.
Up and go. Passes to the corner. THT to the rack.
Started the week off with a win. Talen Horton-Tucker, 7 points and 6 assists off the bench. 5 Jazz players scored in double figures in the win over the Hornets, including Larry Markkinen, who had 25 points and 11 rebounds. He currently has scored 20 or more points in 17 consecutive games. Only LeBron and Jason Tatum have a longer streak. Markkinen continues to show he's worthy to be named an NBA All-Star for the first time in his 6-year NBA career.
NBA All-Star Weekend is just 3 weeks away. All 30 head NBA coaches will be voting on the All-Star reserves, which will be announced on Thursday. Question is, will Lowry be one of the guys in an All-Star jersey? The uniforms were unveiled on Friday, which kind of feature that gradient look on the jerseys, one changing from red to yellow, the other from blue down to black. Those colors were picked to represent the colors of the landscape from southern to northern Utah. As mentioned, the coaches' selection will happen in just 5 days, which is still too far down the road for Markkinen to think about.
It happens if it happens. Like, I don't know when the coaches are doing the voting, next couple of days or whatever. So, I mean, we got a couple more games before that, so they'll still have opportunities to play better, but, I mean, not really looking into it right now. We got a game to win tomorrow, and we'll see if it happens after that.
Markkinen is having his best season as a pro during his first year with the Utah Jazz, averaging almost 25 points and 9 rebounds per game while shooting 43% from 3. But it wasn't long ago when he was a Chicago Bull that many considered him a draft disappointment. The Jazz are Markkinen's 3rd team since being drafted by the Bulls in 2017, and it shows just how important it is to have patience with young players and their development.
A coach one time tell me that, wouldn't it be nice to be known as the coach that never judged a player too early? Like, they can get better, and we see it all over the league. You see guys that they're at their first stop, and people start saying, like, oh, he's a bust, or he's this, or he's that, and it's easy to make those snap judgments. It's funny that Lowry's like coming into his own. He's 25 years old, and so, like, again, think about your own just life. Like, yeah, 25 is an age where maybe you start to feel a little bit more comfortable just about who you are, no matter what you're doing for a profession. It's one of the fun things about basketball is, like, you can always get better. I'm glad nobody judges me based on who I was when I was 22. Like, you can always improve.
From NBA to NCAA, big upset in college hoops this afternoon. 2nd-ranked Alabama on the road at Oklahoma. Oklahoma guard Grant Sherfield had himself a day. Hits the 3 to make it 22-14. Then another 3. It's 35-23. Oklahoma on the fast break. Watch Jalen Hill. The Monster Jam. 64-46. Sooners just dominating this game. And then, of course, Sherfield. That hot hand stayed hot. The dagger. Got it. He finished with 30 points. Oklahoma with a 24-point win, 93-69.
Number 3 Houston at home versus Cincinnati. Upset alert here as well. Both teams headed to the Big 12 next season. Cincinnati guard Micah Adams-Woods hits the half-court shot to make it 43-36 Bearcats. Houston trying to make a comeback, and they did. Jarris Walker's the guy who makes 2 consecutive buckets to make it 62-58. The Cougars with a chance to take the lead. Jamal Shedd makes the jumper. Houston pulls it off, 75-69. Well, the Utah Utes are trying to play their way back onto the NCAA tournament bubble, all alone in second place in the Pac-12 right now. A big game tonight in Eugene against Oregon. That game is just underway. Utah State in the same situation, trying to get back in the NCAA tournament conversation, trying to end a 3-game losing streak on the road, taking on Fresno State. Steven Splashworth with an early 3. Then Dan Akin has been the man for the Aggies in the first half. He hammers in 2. Fresno State would go on an 8-0 run to take a 19-16 lead. But the Aggies would respond with a run of their own. Akin cleaning up the glass. Then on the other end, he's going to block a shot. That's going to start a break, and guess who finishes on the other end? Akin has 12 first-half points. Ashworth 11. Aggies lead 34-28 at the half.
Utah Valley coming off a tough loss at SUU this week, hosting New Mexico State on Saturday. Second half, down a point. Justin Harmon stepped back to hit 3 of his team-high 17. Wolverines up 57-55 bit later. Game tied. Aziz Bandago with the alley-oop for the 63-61 lead. He had a double-double, 16 points, 15 boards. Adds another monster dunk just over 4 minutes to go in the game, and Utah Valley holds off the late rally. They get the win 77-72. Big win for the Devil Bears. Weber State on the road, taking on first place Eastern Washington in the Big Sky. Junior Ballard with the and 1. Make the game 48-46. A few possessions later, KJ Cunningham. Dyson Kohler for the 3. 55-54. Wildcats right there. Eastern Washington guard Angelo Allegri hits a big shot to take a 5-point lead, and Allegri again in crunch time is going to hit a dagger. 73-68. Wildcats come close, but they fall on the road, 75-71. Utah Tech on the road at Abilene Christian. First half here, Cameron Gooden driving, banking, and the foul. Trailblazers within 4. He had 13 in the first half. Late in the half, Denzel Leader for 3. And the foul. The 4-point play ties the game at 32. Utah Tech led 40-38 at halftime. That's where we are right now. It's halftime with that 2-point lead. All right, now to gymnastics. The Red Rocks had a tough loss last week at #1 Oklahoma. But wins and losses really aren't what matters right now when it comes to qualifying for the NCAA championships. Yeah, it's determined based off your top 3 team scores, top 3 home scores, top 3 road scores. And last week's score at Oklahoma was actually good enough to move them up a spot in the national rankings to 4th, even though they lost. Back in the friendly confines of the Huntsman Center, taking on Washington. First, a 9.9 vault comes from freshman McKenna Smith. Been pretty solid in her debut year. And Jillian Hoffman overcoming all those injuries. 9.95. What a moment there for her and her team. She tore her Achilles last season. What a comeback. Utah posted a season low on bars against Oklahoma, so this was a chance to bounce back. Senior Miley O'Keefe, a 9.95. And then anchoring the rotation is silver medalist Grace McCollum, only a 9.75 last meet, but came back against Washington with a 9.95 as well. Stick it. Let's go to Beam, and the Beam team was back to regular form as well. 5 scores of 9.9 or higher. McCallum, one of those 9.9s, and having a little fun in her routine. 5 wolf turns, and then she's going to count them out for the crowd. Crystalisa with her Beam season high of 9.95, followed by O'Keefe, who hit a near-perfect routine, 9.975. The Red Rocks would take a big lead going into the final rotation. And, of course, we know they're going to close this one out. Utah scores a season high on the floor. Jaden Rucker, a 9.925, followed by McCollum with her second 9.95 of the meet. She would win the all-around. And the Red Rocks barely missed the 198 mark. They'll actually be facing 6th-ranked UCLA at the Huntsman Center next week. All right, up next, the latest on the Utah Jazz. Tony Finau was in 3rd place to start the day. How did he finish? We'll catch up with him on the PGA Tour.
I wouldn't consider him untouchable either because he's never been more valuable.
Some insight on the upcoming trade deadline from a national NBA writer that could surprise you and how it could impact the Jazz. Plus, a look back at Damian Lillard's 60-point masterpiece.
Players joke that they're going to bankrupt me. They're going to shoot it from all over, and I'd love that. That's great. Knock them down, ladies.
And the Utah women's basketball team has a big weekend on and off the court. Wyland Roberts is opening. On Friday at the Farmers Insurance Open, Tony Finau had one of the best rounds of the season, a bogey-free 64 that included a 138-yard eagle on his 10th hole of the day. He came into today's final round in third place, but didn't quite have the same luck as he did yesterday, shooting even golf going in that. Then on his next shot, barely gets out of it and still is stuck in the rough. He would double bogey that hole. He got a shot back.
All right, it's always a conflict when watching Damian Lillard play against the Utah Jazz, right? He's the greatest player in the history of Weber State basketball and one of the greatest hoop talents this state has ever seen. We love him.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Sometimes, though, his best work does come at the expense of the Utah Jazz. It happened again on Wednesday when Dame had one of the best games of his career.
Yeah, he scored 60 points. Yes, 60 points, just 1 point shy of his career best, which is 61. He now has 4 60-point games in his remarkable NBA career. He wasn't just scoring 60 that was mind-blowing. It was how he did it. He was incredibly efficient. Look at his numbers. 21 of 29 from the field, 9 of 15 from 3, 9 of 10 from the foul line. He's just one of 3 players ever, Karl Malone and James Harden, the others, who have reached 60 on fewer shot attempts. He posted the highest true shooting percentage in NBA history at 89.8%. At one point, he scored 20 straight Blazers points in the third quarter.
It was just different because it felt so simple. You know, I didn't feel like I just went out there and just went after it. You know, it was like taking what they gave me.
Dame for a 50-piece.
It's the most efficient 60-point game ever, for real.
That's probably why it felt simple for you.
Yeah, it was pretty simple. Maybe let's see. Dang, that's crazy, because I ain't nothing.
Dame has had 2 other 50-point games in his career against the Jazz. The more recent one also happened in Portland back on April 8th, 2017. Lillard shot the ball 34 times in the game, making 18 shots. He was 9 for 14 from three-point range. He made 14 of 16 free throws for a 59-point outburst, which at the time was his career high.
February 2nd, 2020, this one also in Portland. Dame went for 51. He made 9 three-pointers, just like he did Wednesday night. 12 assists as well. 17 of 29 from the field, 8 of 8 from the foul line. The Blazers beat the Jazz that night, 124 to 107.
All right, so Lillard also went over the 1,000 career point mark against the Jazz on the win Wednesday. He's 25th all-time on that list, but who has the most career points against the Jazz? You're looking at him. How about the Dream? Akeem Olajuwon scored 1,786 points against the Jazz in 74 career games. Kobe Bryant, Alex English, Dirk Nowitzki, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar round out the top 5 on that list.
Damian Lillard now averages 27.5 points per game against the Jazz all-time, the 4th most for players who have played at least 20 games against Utah. Michael Jordan is at the top of that list, averaging 32.7 points per game in 26 games against the Jazz. LeBron is 2nd, Allen Iverson 3rd, and George Gervin with his finger roll is behind Lillard for 5th. What a list that was. All right, now the NBA trade deadline is fast approaching. Just 12 days away on February 9th. Will the Jazz be buyers or sellers at the deadline? Or will they just stay the same? It depends on a lot of different factors. The team is in the playoff mix thanks to a great start to the season, but they, of course, just are 15-23 since that 10-3 start. Howard Beck, NBA writer for SI, shared what he knows with Hans and Scotty on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone this week.
A bunch of teams could use Mike Conley, but his salary is at a level where it's really hard to make a trade that matches salary matching rules, right? So it's things like that that come into play. Like if Mike Conley was making half of what he was making, he might have already been traded. The usual names you've heard, like Olynyk and Beasley, and I know that they really love Jordan Clarkson out there, but if somebody comes along with the right price for Jordan Clarkson, I could see that happening too. Like I really don't think anybody on a team at this stage can be considered untouchable. And by this stage, I mean they're in some sort of rebuild, tear down, whatever, transition. Even Markkanen. Like, I'm not predicting Markkanen's going to go. I'm not, saying that this is, going anywhere. To me, Markkanen's value has never been higher. And so if what you're really doing is trying to build toward a horizon that's 3 years out, I wouldn't consider him untouchable either, because he's never been more valuable. And you have to decide whether or not you consider him to be a true foundational player after, several years in Chicago and then Cleveland of being, good to pretty good. He's never been this guy before. So you have to determine how real you think this is, how sustainable you think it is, and whether he's a guy that you can truly build around.
An interesting couple of weeks for the Jazz. BYU women's hoops on the road at Pacific. Nani Falatea was on fire in Stockton. A great effort by Lauren Gusson to save it, and then Nani's going to hit it. Falatea was hot today, made 6 threes, 6 of 12 from behind the arc. She had a game-high 27 points, but it wasn't enough for a Cougar win. They're now 12-9 on the season.
The 9th-ranked Utah women's basketball team started its 2-game homestand this weekend with a 10-point win over USC on Friday night at the Huntsman Center. Alyssa Peely led the Utes with 21 points. 17 of those came in the first half. Kennedy McQueen drilled 5 3-pointers. She had 17 points, while Gianna Neepkins added 16 to help the Utes improve to 17-2 this season. So now the table is set for a top 10 showdown on Sunday at the Huntsman Center. The Utes will be hosting 8th-ranked UCLA, a team that will no doubt be hungry for a win after losing in overtime to 25th-ranked Colorado on Friday night. And what adds to the motivation for a win for both UCLA and Utah is that this is the only time during the regular season these two teams will play against each other. Utah has big goals this season to not only return to the NCAA tournament, but to host the first 2 rounds. A win on Sunday will help pad that resume.
UCLA is hard to beat. That's just the best way to describe it. It doesn't matter what they're doing, who they have. They're very well coached. They're just hard to beat. So, but this weekend is huge. I don't know, since I've been here in terms of a homestand of meaningful games that could impact March, this is a big one.
It's a big homestand for more reasons than just its impact on March, but also for its potential impact on the community. Each homestand this season, the Utes are doing a community service series, picking a cause in the community to help shine the spotlight on. This weekend, they're highlighting Special Olympics Utah, and every 3-pointer they make, Coach Roberts donates $100 of her own money, as well as other money from donors.
It's not just talk. And the players joke that they're going to bankrupt me. They're going to shoot it from all over, and I'd love that. That's great. Knock them down, ladies. I love living here, but I also think if there's any way I can use my platform to give back.
What a job Coach Roberts is doing there, and it's going to be great to hear more from her on KSL Sports Live on Sunday night. We're hitting the home stretch in high school basketball, just a month away before the state tournaments tip off.
Yeah, which of course makes each of these games that much more important for positioning in region standings and potential playoff seeding.
Let's start with a game on Tuesday night that was big. The Olympus Titans on the road against the Murray Spartans, looking for their 17th straight win of the season. The Titans' Jordan Barnes, behind the back to Zach Albert for an easy lay-in. Murray's Chudi Anasike leads the state in scoring, 13 of the Spartans' 16 first-quarter points. He'd finished the game with 30, but another great pass by Barnes to Gavin Lowe under the basket. Beats the horn, and the Barnes had 25 points as well, and Olympus holds off Murray 67-59.
What a battle between Riverton and Bingham. 2-point game with 2 minutes left. Riverton's Jackson Karikas makes it a 4-point lead. Now under 2 minutes to play. Bingham down 3. KJ Jensen knocks down the jumper. That cuts the lead to 1. Bingham missed a pair of free throws that would have gave the Miners the lead, but they still had a shot at the buzzer. Oh, just off. Riverton winning their 4th straight, 48-47.
An important 3A game on Wednesday. Region 15 Judge hosting Summit Academy. Summit Academy head coach Curtis Condi multitasking. The Bears go on the road and get a big win. Big man Sherlock Padmore fights for 2 of his 16. He's fired up. Then Summit Academy's leading scorer Bryson Otley with a tough and one. He led all scorers with 20. Summit Academy's 16-3. Judge, though, got a nice win over Juan Diego on Friday.
All right, we're not done with high school hoops just yet. We've got more from the best of the week in high school basketball coming up.
More high school hoops. Region 1, 5th-ranked Fremont visiting Davis. Traden Hogan living up to his first name. 5 of 5 from 3 to start the game. Fremont forced turnovers out on the break. David Calvert hammers one home. But Hogan was the story. 27 points on 8 of 10 shooting from 3. Braden Flinders had a double-double. Fremont's now 7-0 in Region 1.
All right, how about Tuesday night? The #1 ranked Corner Canyon Chargers continue to dominate. Jackson Roberts with the steal, rises for 2 of his 20 points. And how about Max Toombs? Kid couldn't miss. 28 points, breaking ankles, 4 threes, 7 rebounds. Oh my goodness, they're 5-0 now in Region 4 with that win, 83-59.
A West Jordan rivalry game. Copper Hills hosting the West Jordan Jaguars. The steal, the break, and the finish. Josh Pomerening pummeling the rim. We had another Grizzly dunk. Great pass by Isaiah Reiser to set up Kyson Hymas for a rim rocker. Grizzlies win. They're in second place in Region 3 behind Riverton. We will be right back.